It's your boy Breakdowns with Jay, and I'm going to go over why Shannon Sharpe leaving undisputed means the end of Skip Bayless. This was the ending right here. The moment where they were talking about the segment of the San Francisco 49ers demolishing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady had a horrific game, 35-7 rout by the 49ers, and Shannon Sharpe's argument was stating that Tom Brady did not play well, and he deserved part of the blame of why they lost. But Skip Bayless, in typical Skip Bayless fashion, was stating why Tom Brady had no help, the O-line and missing players, if they had this, and then it leads to personal jabs at Shannon Sharpe's career. And then when Skip said, "You're just jealous because you aren't half the player Tom Brady is," to Shannon Sharpe loses his cool, and he says, "Why does every time we get into one of these, you want to take personal shots at me?" And then he used, "You know me, and you're not going to defend me over like Tom Brady." And he said, "Of course not. I'm going to defend Tom Brady over like anyone because he's done it at the highest level in your sport." And I thought right then and there, it was over. It was over because you took that 6-year, 7-year relationship out the window when you said something like that, because you put your liking of a player over somebody you worked with, you been around, you got along for the most part, have a lot of disagreements, but you put that over a guy you know and been around, somebody you have never met. And I knew that was the beginning of the end. And then you got the Baker Mayfield stuff that happened prior or later or both. And then you had the Damar Hamlin stuff where he texts an insensitive tweet saying, "Is the game gonna resume? I hope it does," or something. Not just noticing that there is a player laying out on the field unconscious. Had to be revived on the field. He was dead for a minute. And it was just one of those things that Skip Bayless has always been like this, very insensitive, never really cared what people thought. And that is good in some mindsets, but at the same time, when you lose touch of reality and people and feelings, that is not good. You've heard him many times say Ernestine, his wife, is second to him. He said on his date with Ernestine, his wife, he said, "You know my career is number one in our life." He said that to her, "And you will always be second to it, and you will not jeopardize my career." And because she went along with it, it worked out. But she had to make more sacrifices to that than he did to her. And it was just one of those things. You already kind of saw how he was and how he disrespected players. Terrell Suggs, Chris Bosh, Russell Westbrook. The list continues. Shannon Sharpe, Jenny Taft. How many more people were on the receiving end of a haymaker from Skip Bayless? So this was the writing on the wall. I'm surprised it even lasted, but because of Shannon, how he kept everything peaceful and how he tried to be the voice of reason and let Skip ramble at times and just shut his mouth. He probably was sick and tired of it. He said, "Put your glasses back on." Shannon hesitates and then puts them back on. Internet clowns him and everything. But Shannon's at a position where this guy brought me onto the show. He runs this essentially. There's people above him, but this is the show he runs, and I want a paycheck. And I think as Shannon rose in popularity, this began the spiral downfall of the relationship. Was when Shannon and Skip joined in 2016, the football world, the sports world knew of Shannon Sharpe. The mainstream media didn't really know of Shannon Sharpe. They knew he was probably a football player, that was it. But as Undisputed, because it's put out there to the masses, people started to know more of Shannon Sharpe. The terrible LeBron takes at times, the funny grandpa story tales, the jokes, the Lakers in 5, all of that. He brought all that to it, and then you were always intrigued on what he would say when the Cowboys lost or Tom Brady lost, or if LeBron passed a milestone of Michael Jordan, to see what Skip's reaction is and what Shannon was going to say to that, or what Shannon was going to say to something happening to Skip, team or player or whatever. that was why the dynamic worked so well. But in time, Shannon rose in popularity and overtook Skip. And I feel towards the last couple of years, because a couple years ago in this past year, that there was kind of talks of, are they even going to be together because of Shannon's contract issue? Then there was a rumor of ESPN Plus having Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. There was just all of that. And then if you remember, there was a report that came out that Shannon wanted as much money as Skip Bayless, and he got, because we're going through the George Floyd and the lot of killings of unarmed black people, he used that on his side of leverage of them to pay, because Skip is a white individual, and he leveraged that. His team did perfectly to get the money as Skip. So there's already that factor that he's getting as much money as Skip Bayless, a little bit less maybe, but he got the money in that range of like Skip. And I feel there was a change, and it's been reported, Shannon wanted more say and creative, but Skip had that. That's why the takes were so bland. Cowboys, Baker Mayfield, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan. That was it. LeBron James. Them were the topics, because Skip had creative control. I feel Shannon could go way more into maybe football, NBA, and other stuff as well. So there was a clash, because Skip is still here, but Shannon overtook him in everything. So I feel Shannon's camp probably felt like we need some power as well, but Skip wasn't wanting to leverage that to Shannon Sharpe. That is what happened. And I think it led to a clash. And it was one of those things that I feel Shannon told Fox, you guys are going to have to decide. And they went with Skip Bayless. So he ultimately said, all right, I'm going to buy out this contract. I'm going to take Club Shay Shay with me. And that is the end. So ultimately, a lot took to get to this point. A lot of things took it to where it is right now. But in the retrospect, Shannon Sharpe knew his worth. Just probably the mentions, the people supporting, the unk phrase, like everything he just gained in the time of being on Undisputed. And I understand he probably feels Skip's a big part of it, and he is. Nothing to take away from Skip Bayless. I told you, he's an anchor. He did it for many years, journalism, the Cowboys, the Raiders, covering the NBA, everything. He did it at the highest level. ESPN, First Take, Cold Pizza, Undisputed, all that. But at the same time, Skip kind of lost in the sauce, kind of made his head feel he was still there when Shannon was up here, and Shannon knew his worth. And ultimately, they had to break up and split. I don't think Skip wanted it. If you just saw Skip the other day, he looked sad, ending a take with Shannon. Sometimes people don't realize what they lost till they lose it. And I feel Skip, because you're 71 years old, you're stuck in your ways. You're an old man. You're probably not wanting to change or adapt. And then you're seeing reports that because of how he runs stuff, nobody wants to work with him. So Undisputed may be closed, shut down, unless you get a journalism guy who comes in and debates with him. Probably a reporter of some sort. They're probably confined to that. But like a player of some sort, of a caliber, they're not wanting to sit down with Skip Bayless. He's put down many athletes, like I said. Terrell Owens went at him. LeBron James. Come on now. Many more. Chad Johnson. Richard Sherman. The list just continues. And I feel that just the dynamic of how Shannon was, and probably how he was raised in respecting and all that, it helped the relationship. This was going to end 4 years ago. There was that one debate argument they had in 2018 with Tom Brady, and that was real, but they got over it. There was many more of those, but it just got consecutive, and I bet Shannon was tired of it. He was tired of it. And then you're already being looked at small in that lineup at Fox, of because it is his show, he brought a lot of them over there from ESPN, him and Colin Cowherd, they couldn't really shift the power dynamic. That's what probably really happened. They couldn't shift that power dynamic because of a lot they've invested in Skip Bayless. But even the Club Shay Shay to Skip Bayless podcast, Shannon's over 1 million subscribers. Skip's not. Skip's reading off a paper. Shannon's having guests and all sorts of stuff. Like, you just see Skip's outdated. He's still living off the past. It's stuck in your ways. It's 71-year-old. Shannon's older. He's like 54, but not 70. There's a lot that's going into this. And I feel that this is the end of the line for Skip Bayless. I don't know what else he could do unless he just does what he did the one time when the DeMar Hamlin stuff and Shannon no-showed and he was just taking questions. People are not going to watch that. The rating's about to drop when Shannon leaves. Nobody wants to watch Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless always had an entertaining counterpart like Stephen A. Smith or the rotation on Cold Pizza. It was never Skip being the priority, and I felt he lost sight of that. So if that stuff happens, Undisputed is about to hit the wall. But I do believe the reports and just everything, Undisputed is a wrap. Skip's probably gonna have to join a show or do something else. Nobody wants to work with him. He's outdated. It is what it is. So tell me what you guys think. I'm Breakdowns with Jay. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'm out.